It's also a very good program, Photoshop, as you can see, that helps to introduce to you how to edit on a video timeline, because the other programs that you can utilize, without a doubt, is Premiere, which is part of Adobe, and also After Effects, which is a very complicated program. It is an industry standard. It is what everybody uses with everything you see on television or online, in games, in commercials, and feature film. And pretty much most of anything is done with After Effects. There are other programs similar, but After Effects pretty much takes the cake. Is a video timeline called Avid. And so that's also a valid program, very different than Adobe. I personally like to stay in Adobe simply because they are the best UX UI designs. And you probably have come to learn that. Very intuitive with the tools. So let's cover the tools again for keyframing. So we're going to talk about how to create keyframing and how to, probably a review. Some of the most difficult things, which is transform, because you are completing your video and wrapping up your animated GIF as well. So the other things we'll do in this video, we'll do export. And then I will do another video just for the case study. So that'll come sometime midweek. So here we are. I have my layers, as you can see. Remember to be sure to see all of your timeline. Remember you have this device down here to make your timeline be smaller or bigger. So that's very important to be able to see the beginning to the end, so that you can be sure that everything you want to see when you scrub is what we call scrubbing, because it's very slow. So you don't want to play it all the time in real time, and you can hit space bar to play in real time, and you can stop the play with the space bar. Stop and start. Simply stop and start. And those are things that are very helpful. Another thing that's very easy to know, like if I click this and I highlight this, and I want to have, you see there's only one layer up here, but if I wanted this object to be repeated somewhere, you can actually just cut it, just like this on the scissors. Cut. Now you see you have two duplicate up here and two here. So if you wanted that layer to be seen again somewhere, deselect and just select and move it. And so then you can, so it makes it duplicate, which is good. So I'm going to go back to that because I don't need a duplicate. And again, so instead of playing it all the time, you can just kind of scrub it to see what you want. Now you notice these are basic keyframings on just the position, right? As you can see, just the position. It's important to remember that in your keyframing positions, make a good habit of jumping back to those keyframes one at a time by toggling on the left here the keyframes. And why do we say that? It's because 1 second has 29 frames. And so if you kind of ballpark it, you may not be right on that keyframe. So that's why we use these tabs to snap us back to the keyframe. Critically important. And this is the methodology that you use in Premiere and the same methodology that you use in After Effects, and the dashboard looks exactly the same as far as those diamonds. So it's something that I like to teach this in the Photoshop Level 1 class, simply because it is your baby step to getting to more complicated timelines, such as Premiere, such as After Effects, such as 3D animation, or even 2D. Flash Animate is not like this, but the keyframing methodology of computer tweens are. And the computer tweens, as you know, were covered in the course materials. So, so here we have the tweening on that. So let's take something a little bit more complicated. Let's open up something that we can all see. And so this will be, we'll come down to the bottom here, and we'll simply take this ACLU, and we'll make this very large. So position is only position. And you notice that it's only here where it says opacity and style. And remember, style has to do with the layer style of glows. So we'll do a little bit of that as well. So let's be able to utilize the rotate. Okay, the rotate and the scale. So over here, you'll see an arrow here. And if you don't see an arrow here, that means that you probably need to come up here to rasterize the layer. So that you'll see that under, you would highlight your layer, highlight the layer. If the arrow is not here, it more than likely has a little icon on the layers here. And what you want to do is go to Layer, Rasterize, and because it's already rasterized, you roll over and just do one layer. Just do one layer at a time. So when you have that arrow, you want to mouse down, and you want to go to, just simply go to rotate, and be sure to toggle it off. And then be sure to just deselect off. And now you'll see that this is in a rotate with transform now. So that's the advanced tool of the tweening, above the position, opacity, and style. You now can scale, rotate, and change a position. So they kind of give you this for starters to help you to understand how to do this. So I'm going to snap back to this one. And I'm just going to turn everything off. So, and this is often a good thing to do, because sometimes it's much easier to do. So right away I can see that I don't want the blue. So I'm going to see if I can erase that blue. And you see I cannot. So therefore it has that, it rasterized, it locks it in when you put the transform. And I want to get rid of that blue, and I can't do it now. So simply rasterize it, layer, rasterize, layer. But it throws out the transform. But now I'm going to delete it, and now I have it gone the blue. So I come back again, have to do that step again, transform. Welcome to my life in time base. You do things a lot over, and that's okay. You're learning. It's a good time to learn by doing things twice. Turn that off, deselect somewhere off of here. There's a transform again. I don't want that, so I'm just going to simply click the keyframe, but the transform stays, and that's what's important. And so now we're there. And so what I want to do is I want this to scale big. So let's zoom out. Always good to see your edges of your movie. And we're going to do a scale. So I'm going to highlight, you know this, highlight, scale. You do not need the shift key. So I'm going to go very big to start with this. Good old Statue of Liberty, nice and big. And it's a little pixelated, but that's okay. That is my keyframe. That's how I want to start it. And of course, you need to accept it by double clicking, and it will accept with the double click. You can also click the arrow, which is on top, that you will see, but I usually just double click. Okay, now we want for the animation to happen. So we're going to scrub forward. Again, now we're going to bring it down, Control T. And as you can see, I don't see the edges, so I need to zoom out. View, zoom out. This time I'm going to space bar, move it over. Oh, it's going to let me move. Nope, it's not going to let me move over. So I'm just going to move it like this and then scale it down. Scale it down so that we see all of it. And I want to keep it just the way it is in the background. You can use your arrows to move things over. There. And then again, that's what I like. I say double click. And now that, when I scrub it, is the zoom. Now, if I wanted to rotate it, rotate is probably the most difficult thing to do. So you want to go to Control T. And up here, you can do 90, right? Double click it. Advance it again. Control T again. Rotate it. It's 90. You're going to rotate it now to 180. Right? Double click it. Let's scrub it. Working good. Scrubbing is important. And then again. Now, yeah. Advance it. Click it. Control T. And you see, when you go back up, it has no number. So you want to keep it going. And so now it is going to be minus 90 now. Double click it. Again, always check that it's going in the right direction. So if you do it in quarters, it helps. And then this one really is where it is, but we'll advance it. Click again, Control T. And bring it down to 0. Double click. And then again, make sure it's going in the right direction, and it does. And then at the end, I want it to go into place. There. Control S, save. So now let's just play it. Spacebar. Going slow, as you can see, very slow. Now, if you want to speed it up, you can move these things. Literally, you can move these things so that the timing. So the closer it is, the faster it is. The further apart it is, the slower it is. So I'm just going to even this out. And in actuality, I'm going to bring this to the top. So now that's in the foreground. So let's see how this looks. There it is. And let's play it. It's slow. Oh, it's not working because I have no layers turned on. Turn your layers on. Gotta turn your layers on. You know, no matter how much you know this program, there's always something you haven't done. So welcome to software, folks. Here we go. It's playing through. And you can add music, and we'll be doing that. Coming through. And it feels slow, but it's not. I've got the shadows on too soon, so I should push that back. Here comes this. It should rotate soon. Going to rotate. And you see I can make that faster so it's nice or slow. That's why it's important to render out. So we're just going to advance this. Goes up and to there. Now you can actually move this entire, if you highlight everything, it's important to highlight everything. My shift key is down, so I'm selecting every keyframe, and then I'm going to move it to the beginning. And then you can move everything past that. So if I scrub this, it happens sooner. And so again, you can make this happen really fast. Whoops. Deselect to unselect it. And move this even faster so that it's in place before they come in. Here we go. Comes out, piece. And you see I have a little problem here on my, that's why you have to be sure all your layers are cleaned up. So I would have to re-render that because I'd have to rasterize that. So very important to have all your layers prepared before you do your timeline. And here comes, and so at this point I can stop this, add that fade. No, I don't want to add the fade. And now it comes into position. Oh, needs to be a little behind these guys. There we go. So you see you can change, adjust the levels. I'm going to stop this now because the next one we're going to do, let me just show you on the export. So export again is here. Export. Render to video. Make sure you're going where you want it to go. Click the folder. My folder is here. And you want to be sure to select the folder where you want it to go. And then the name. I'll start with this one. YouTube, and you want H.264, and you want to be sure that you have 1080 YouTube up here as well, and then you render it. And that should do it. So that's what's important, and you'll have an MPEG-4. You may need to have the media encoder, but not too sure if you do. So if you have any problems with rendering, please email me.